always football time. This is what makes our heart beat.
Welcome back to the Football Tragics. I'm your host, Aaron. I'm joined here by Tony and Morty. Campo is still unable to join us for another pod. He's getting his internet sorted, so he's got that luxury. But this is Matchday 2's preview of the English Premier League. Looking forward to this one. We're going to jump straight into it because why not? We've got Liverpool taking on Burnley. That's the first game. And then we've got Villa taking on Newcastle, Palace v Brentford, Leeds v Everton, City v Norwich, Brighton v Watford, Southampton United, Wolves Tottenham, the big London derby, Arsenal Chelsea, and then to wrap up the week we've got West Ham Leicester. Obviously all those times on screen there you see Australian times because we do live in Australia, and I'll keep mentioning it, we're still in lockdown, so we've got the luxury of watching all the games. But yeah, as I said, we're going to get straight into it. We've got Liverpool taking on Burnley this first one. Morty, this is your team. We're going to let you run off with this one. Who have you got?
Well, obviously Liverpool should be ahead in this one. However, Burnley in the past for Liverpool have always been a pain. They black playing shit football. And
is it last year? So, was it they beat the? Did they end your record? Was it last year?
Yeah,
last season? Or was it season before that? I think it was.
No, it's last season.
Yeah, so you were sitting on like 50 something games, wasn't it? 60 something games.
Yeah,
unbeaten.
No, 61. I think it was 61 or 62.
Yep. And a nice 1-0 win, courtesy of Burnley. But anyway, that's last season. It didn't do too great last year, but this is obviously the current season. You got Van Dijk back. Yeah, how do you see it playing out?
Playing what I did last week, I think probably get out to maybe 2-0, but it won't be a very high scoring match. Won't be scoring till the 60th minute more than likely. It's either that or we'll score in the first 5 seconds. So that's usually how Burnley games go against them, and we'll always be, hoping for some Alisson brilliance to stop those shitty Barnes up top.
Yeah, because they'll play their usual style of football, won't they? They'll just flood. If they do play Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood up top together, they'll just flood them up and hope to challenge Van Dijk. And I don't know if it's going to be Matip again. I suppose it'll be Matip again, would it?
If he's put a foot wrong, so.
Yeah, you can't. I suppose you can't really drop someone who kept a clean sheet, can you? But yeah, so if they do throw them up top, they'll give Van Dijk a bit of a headache, I think. They are big bodies. But yeah, so what's your exact score prediction for this one?
2-0 Liverpool.
2-0? Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there. I think you just get the job done. I think Salah probably grabs another one. And maybe Firmino, I think he keeps his decent form. Obviously, he's scored in the early game. But he came off the bench, didn't he, for Diego Jota?
Yeah, he did. And the way it worked out, I liked it. So
yeah, I've gone 2-0. I think Salah maybe in the first half. And then, Firmino off the bench again wraps it up. Tony, what have you got this game?
I kind of agree with what Morty said. Obviously, we know how Burnley like to play, and we know how Burnley plays against the big teams. They're going to sit back, they're going to pump long balls forward, and they're going to hope to try and get a goal on a counter-attack. So I can see this honestly going down to the 75th minute, and I'll go Liverpool 1-0 purely because it's Liverpool versus Burnley, but I think it's going to be done in the last 15 minutes.
Exciting game to kick off the round if that's the case. We've got Villa taking on Newcastle. Sorry, go on.
So one more thing on that game. There are rumours floating around Robertson will be making his return very early.
Oh, really? That soon?
There's a bit of talk around it. So
okay,
I'd like to see us continue resting him. So,
but I was going to say, do you drop the left back Sikamas or whatever? Sorry, I can't pronounce his name.
Well, it's either we give Robbo some game time leading into Chelsea, or we stick with Tsimikas and let Robbo rest up. So. That's one for Klopp to.
I don't think. I don't think you'd start him. Maybe if he's got the comfortable lead, he might look to bring him on, Robbo. Yeah. But I think Tsimikas keeps his position for this week because he looked good last week as well. So we've got Villa taking on Newcastle. I've gone with a 2-1 Villa win here. I think they rectify what happened last week. It wasn't the best performance by them. They're at home against a team who. Newcastle played well for a half of football last week, and then we all know they collapsed second half against West Ham. So I think Villa at home will be too strong for Newcastle 2-1. Tony, who have you got for this one?
I've actually put in a 2-2 draw for this game. I think that it's going to be a high-scoring affair because I believe Villa will go behind and they won't want to let the fans down at home. So I can see him fighting back, potentially getting back 2-1 ahead, and then, St. Maxim might do about 15 step-overs, cut back a few times, put in a cross, and they'll get the equaliser.
Well, it'd be interesting to know. I think Joe Willock could probably make his second debut for Newcastle this week. I'd imagine he's probably trained with them for about a week or so now. So it's a great signing by Newcastle and a bit of, gives them a bit of something to go with, I reckon, for this week. Morty, what have you got?
I think I agree with you, Aaron. I think Villa are probably too strong at home. Newcastle's shown that their defence was very, very shaky. And Villa, although struggled somewhat the first half of that game, they sort of looked to get a bit more attacking football playing by the end of it. And if they can continue that on, I think Newcastle's defence will be in a bit of trouble there. So I'm going to go 3-1 Villa.
Yeah. Moving forward, I've got my first draw of the week. We've got Palace taking on Brentford. Although Brentford had a good week last week against Arsenal, I think Palace will trouble them a little more, which is surprising considering Arsenal is supposed to be one of the big boys. But I think this is the first game away from home in the Premier League, and I think they're not going to go too crazy. I think they're going to try and keep it conservative, hope to just not concede. They might go 1-0 up, and then, I've got Palace pegging them back. Getting Patrick Vieira his first points on the board for the Premier League. Morty, I'll start with you this one. How are you seeing it play out?
I think Palace have come with a very different game plan. You saw that Chelsea sort of just put the pressure on, and they didn't look to move the ball out at all. I think they probably looked to get on the front foot from the beginning, and I think Brentford might struggle a little bit going off that confidence against Arsenal when they didn't really have to throw much in attack. I think Palace can trouble them a little bit more than Arsenal did last week.
Yeah, well, you're right. Palace didn't trouble Chelsea in the slightest, but in saying that they couldn't get going, this game they'll have a lot more freedom to do so against a team who they fancy they'll get 3 points against. Tony, how do you see it?
I'm looking at my tippings just then before we jumped on this podcast, and I've never done this, but I've gone back-to-back draws, so I've actually got a draw in this game too. I think Brentford's just going to be on way too much of a high still, and I think they could potentially get that early goal. But as Crystal Palace kind of gets into that game, they will get the equaliser, and I see it ending 1-1.
Yeah, well, I mean, Palace are blessed with the fact that they can always bring on someone like Benteke if he doesn't start, and he'll run at you all day. He'll be leaping for balls. So, I suppose they're a little blessed in that way. I want to mention that last week was actually the first week in a while, I think on opening day or in any game week, that we haven't had a single draw, which was entertaining to see. So just teams going for the win, which is it's always what you want. There's only usually like 1 or 2 draws in a week anyway. Sometimes you get blessed with the 5 in 1 week, but that's not too often. But
blessed, that's the right answer. Blessed.
Yeah, maybe not blessed. I wouldn't say blessed. Unfortunate, I suppose. Depending which end you're on, I suppose. If you're a Watford fan and you're coming up against City, you take a draw. But Leeds versus Everton. I've gone with a Leeds 2-1 win here. I think last week, obviously, they got found out a lot at the back, playing their usual style of football. But I think they continue that style of football, but just have enough just to get past Everton, given that Everton doesn't have the likes of Pogba and Bruno Fernandes to hurt them on the counter or all over the park. So 2-1 Leeds the way I'm going to see it. Tony, how do you see this one? Given that you obviously watched Leeds majority last week.
Yeah, I mean, I do see Leeds getting up. I see them winning this game. However, I think it was this time last year when not this time, but the game last year when United played Leeds. After that, other clubs saw how to expose that backline, how to drag them forward and then hit them on the counter-attack. So I will go Leeds. I don't think you can have a low-scoring game when it comes to Leeds, so I'm going to go 3-1, but I think they will go behind.
Yeah, I was definitely tossed between the 3 or the 2-1. But as you said, maybe Rafa does, watch some video back from last week and realise how easy it is to get behind their defence. Morty, what do you think of it?
This is my first draw of the week, actually. I can see Leeds probably... They had a lot of good chances at the start of the United game. It's just that the United's defence sort of held them out a bit more than Everton's will. And I think Everton probably go down maybe by 2, but they got enough at the end of the game to finish it off and tie it up. So I can see it going 2-2 draw.
Well, this would be Ellen Road's first big first game again back in the Premier League, isn't it, with fans? So I assume the stadium would be rocking. But yeah, it'd be an interesting game to watch. I suppose all Leeds games are interesting given the fact they don't defend at all. All right, we've got potentially one of our bigger score lines this week. City taking on Norwich. Tony, I'll leave with you for this one. How do you see it playing out?
I think there's only one way you can see it playing out. Obviously, we saw Liverpool tear apart Norwich last week, and honestly, I think City, after losing to Tottenham, is going to come out with all guns blazing. I can't see him resting Bruno this week from the start of the game. I'm going to go 5-0, Man City.
Yeah. Morty, given obviously you watched Norwich last week, how do you fancy them?
This can be a big score one, but I think again it depends on who plays at the back because although Tottenham scored once, their Ake was not up to Prem standard last week, and I think Norwich can probably put one past him if he continues on there. But if they go back to their full strength squad, then probably 4-0. But in saying that, who knows what Pep does? We were confused last week, and I'm sure we'll be just as confused this week with his lineup. So,
well, yeah, that is it. Obviously, with the squad depth that he has, it's never, especially just a lottery pick, isn't it? Trying to decide who's going to start week in, week out. I'm actually going to predict that Grealish and KDB will start together for the first time, which will be very interesting to see how that works because obviously both players love to have the ball at their feet. And I think Grealish will work out that he doesn't get that luxury as much at City like he does at Villa. But I've gone with a 4-0 scoreline as well. I think City, they'll want to put a few past them and prove to people again why they can score goals with or without Kane. And Tony, I do want to give you the option to bring up that question. You're obviously looking in the rumour mill just in the last few hours. You've got Lewandowski on the radar of City.
Yeah, so obviously we all know, and it's not a secret, that City are after the pursuit of Kane. Kind of my question to you guys, it is a lot of money. He is a bit older, but would he be a potential person to go for in Lewandowski if they can't get Kane across the line?
Morty, what do you think of
that? It'd be a great signing for him. However, if you look at the way City have recruited in the past, not under Pep, but previously, the amount of strikers they went through when they just tried picking up that quality older striker, and they just ended up with a lot of them. Other than Aguero, they always did it. So if they've learnt from that and they're look to getting a Kane who's going to give him a few more years than Lewandowski will, but yeah, money talks, and if they can get that title again this year with Lewandowski, he'll come for a year if that's all it's going to be.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's always the challenge with it. With Lewandowski still being at Bayern Munich, they're not going to want anything less than 80 mil, probably even 100 mil. What do they take? So does City weigh up the option of signing a 33-year-old striker for 100 million, who you'll get for 2, maybe 3 seasons, maybe 4, however long his career goes on? But I think Kane ultimately is still the much better, smarter option. What is he, 28, 29? You'll get him for at least 5 years, I'd say, because I don't see him moving again after City if he goes there. So yeah, I think you just got to break the bank, pay the 150, whatever Daniel Levy's asking for him. Although Daniel Levy is apparently not answering phone calls anymore regarding Kane, so I think he's just being a bit childish.
I think if you're going for Kane, if he's not answering phone calls, he's not going for anything less than, I'm going to say 180 plus. I don't see them wanting to get rid of him. And we saw last week, City need a striker. Yes, they have Gabriel Jesus, but they need a striker.
He doesn't play. Gabriel Jesus that just sits on the bench and doesn't get minutes.
Just on that, if you're going to be throwing that up to 180, would they not look at then going to Mbappe? Like, if you're getting up to that much money, would you not throw it at a striker 5 years younger?
Do you pay the 180 right now for Haaland? Because I know Dortmund weren't going to let Haaland go for what Chelsea was offering, maybe 110, 130, but 180 will make him think about that right now. And then you get him for potentially 10 years, depending on how long he wants to stay. So if it's getting up to the $180 million ballpark, you've got to be weighing up your options there. I think Levy probably does come around in the end just because he might think it's too much to decline, because $150 million is decent bill for a team like Spurs who currently just in the Conference League right now. So
what do we have? 2 weeks left? Is it a week? 2 weeks left in the transfer
I think
business?
that's the end of
2
August,
weeks,
isn't it? So it'd be just around 2 weeks.
Week and a half, 2 weeks. You're not leaving yourself much time. Like, yeah, we saw they didn't need a striker against City, but you're going to need a striker throughout the year. And who are they going to bring in 2 weeks?
Yeah, well, that's it. They're not going to let Kane go without having an option ready as well. So, yeah, 2 weeks is a long time, though, in the transfer window. We've seen crazy things happen, especially on just in the last day of transfer window. But, yeah, I'm going to go into Brighton versus Watford here. And I think potentially we wrote Watford off a little bit too much last week. I watched a bit of their game back against Villa last week, and they were quite decent. They actually dominated that game. And one of our commenters said that they did dominate that game, and Villa were kind of lucky to even get a couple goals there. So I've actually gone with the Watford away result here, 2-0 over Brighton. I didn't see enough of Brighton. I didn't see enough defensive display to give them enough credit just yet in the season. So, yeah, I've gone with the Watford. Morty, how about yourself?
Yeah, look, Watford they looked good last week. They didn't really put a foot wrong. They just perfect opening weekend for them. In saying that, though, we've seen Watford in the Prem in years past, and they've proven that they can show up on any weekend. They beat Liverpool on that title run. They were the first team to do it, and so it can happen. And I just think Watford they need to prove some consistency this year if they're going to be staying up, because they can play with the big boys, but they don't the bottom half of the table is where they start collapsing most of the time. So,
what's your prediction for the game?
Watford 3-2, high scoring.
High scoring game. Okay, and Tony, what about yourself?
Yeah, I don't know what the listener's name was, but definitely great shout by him saying that they probably did make Villa look like they were more in the contest, because I actually watched a fair bit of that game, and every time I changed that game, Watford were on the attack and Watford were pressing them. It wasn't till late that Villa got that first goal, and then you know what? The penalty in the 97th minute, I don't think Watford would have cared when they were up 3-1. Give away a penalty in the 97th minute, you know you've got the points in the bag. Brighton, they were lucky. Obviously, me hit the post from that cross.
Yeah, and I think if that game goes down 2-0, I don't think they have enough to claw it back.
Exactly. And I think, obviously, you look at a coach and you go, what a masterclass. He's brought players off the bench who have changed the game and got him the points last week. That's not going to happen every week. Let's be honest. So I see Watford winning this one, and I'm going to go 2-0.
Yeah, so yeah, I've obviously gone with the same 2-0 result, which takes us into your boys, Tony. We've got United away at Southampton. Southampton looked good for spells last week. However, their only goal did come courtesy of a Everton mistake. And then they obviously then conceded another 3 after that to lose 3-1. So United looked probably the best of the weekend. Bruno, hat-trick, first Prem hat-trick. Pogba, 4 assists. Greenwood on the score sheet. Fred on the score sheet. Tony, how do you see it playing out, this one? Obviously, it probably excites you, this game here.
Yeah, it definitely excites me. Obviously, we had such a really good away record last year. It was our home record that let us down. So I don't think the team's going to be too worried about having to travel to away games. Yes, fans in the stands make a difference. But like you said, I didn't see too much from Southampton that really puts a worry, or I think will worry Ole way too much. I can see Sancho starting this week. Varane, 50-50. I don't know if he's going to start. I know he's training. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Obviously, I think we're going to get up, and I'm going to go first clean sheet of the season. Let's go 3-0.
Morty, what have you got for this one?
Pretty much the same. I'm going to go 3-0. I think Pogba probably gets on the assist sheet again, but it'll just keep it to 1 this week.
That's not good enough for a $100 million player. He's got to be on 4 each week, hasn't he?
Actually, just on that, I saw something the other day about how Pogba has never once said he wants out of United, and he's been made to make this big scapegoat of the whole club. Kane's openly said he wants to leave, and everyone loves him.
Yeah.
I
suppose
it's one of those
sometimes.
When you think about it, though, Pogba is, and we've seen it on Sky Sports, he's a marketing person. You mention Paul Pogba, you're going to get 1 million clicks. You mention Kane, you might get English clicks.
Yeah, and I think it's also a case of Kane consistently performs for Spurs for the most part, whereas you've got Pogba, who is very hit and miss, and he'll go missing for a number of weeks. And that's what people go, all of a sudden he wants out. And I suppose it doesn't help he's got the agent who probably has the biggest mouth in football. Don't think that's a secret either. So I think he makes it known that Pogba wants out when Pogba probably doesn't say it, just because he wants the extra pay packet. If he gets the move to PSG or Madrid, probably nets him about 50 million just in his pocket alone. But I've got 3-0 as well, boys. So we've got 3-0 all around. So we'll probably have to chuck a bet or something on that because it's looking good. Just on the Sancho, I think he gets the start over Daniel James. I didn't see enough from James to warrant that he gets another start with Sancho coming in. And then Varane, do I think he gets this week? Probably not, because I don't think you can really bench Lindelof because he wasn't at fault for that goal, obviously, and they only conceded the one. He was solid. But on the Lindelof note, I do want to mention, I've been seeing a couple of things floating around. If you don't sign a defensive midfielder, is Lindelof playing at holding midfielder a potential option, given that Varane will obviously come in and start centre-back? What do you think of it, being a United fan, Tony?
Obviously, I've seen the same tweets, whatever you want to call them, that have been going around. I've seen that rumour mill, and we actually did have a discussion in our inbox about that today. Although he can play a passing game, he probably doesn't have the speed, the quick feet to play in that defensive position. And as we've seen when it comes to a centre-back, Maguire is usually the one demanding the ball, not Lindelof. And in that defensive position, you're going to have to demand the ball. And in saying that, I think... You'd still take a Fred over Lindelof at holding.
I'd
take a McTominay and a Fred, but either of them. I think they're both proved they can play that position. Obviously, they do cop a lot of stick. The Mac-Fred combination that we saw last year. But obviously, we saw it against Leeds and it worked.
Yeah. So you can't knock a winning formula, I guess. So I think Lindelof's just got to keep doing what he's doing until he eventually gets benched by Varane, and then he's just sitting on the bench for as good as every week except for cup weeks, I suppose. But we've got Spurs away at Wolves here. Interesting one because Tottenham obviously got the big win last week against City. Everybody wrote them off. They got it done. Wolves on the receiving end of a 1-0 loss, courtesy of a Jamie Vardy goal at Leicester. How do you see it playing out, Morty, this one?
Well, obviously it's Nunes against his old squad, so the team could be out for some blood. He left to move on to bigger and better things. Is it bigger and better? Not sure, but we go on. Kane, obviously he's back in training this week. Apparently he's shown up.
Yep. He didn't travel with
isolation.
He didn't travel with them for their Conference League game, which I think is in like a Portuguese third tier team. So.
Yeah. Whether he starts or not, don't know. But however, Tottenham did look good. Although, in saying that, the way they played last week was just all-out pace attack on that of City's defence. Counter-attacking behind. Does that work against everyone else? Maybe not. We haven't really seen it work. We've seen that same starting attack before, and it hasn't really panned out. So. I'm going to go close one and go 1-1. I think they just hold on, yeah.
Tony?
Okay, I have tipped Tottenham. I'll give that one away. I have tipped Tottenham this week. But nothing says Tottenham more than beating Man City 1 week, going out and smashing someone that we can't even pronounce in the Conference League, and then losing to Wolves. So it wouldn't shock me. Obviously, there's not much firing up that the coach has to do for Wolves other than you've got a chance to beat your old manager. Like I said, I tipped Tottenham, but I'll go 1-0 just because I tipped it, but it wouldn't shock me if we're sitting here and Tottenham's drop points versus Wolves.
So basically Brentford versus Arsenal last week, where you said you tipped Arsenal, but it wouldn't shock you. I've also gone with Spurs. I think they'll just be a bit on a high, given that they did knock off City, and I think they continue a strongish start to the season. Do I think they drop off towards the end of the season? Possibly. But for now, I think they look okay. Son probably gets a double. I don't know if Kane even starts this game. I think they maybe prepare for life without him on the team sheet front. I don't think Levy has, obviously. But I think that Nuno will possibly prepare for life without him and see how they play and maybe bring him off the bench. given he has not been training with them for long. So I'm going to go Son double and then maybe Adama Traore. So 2-1 Spurs.
But if you're preparing for life, if you're preparing for life without Kane, and that's what the manager wants, surely he goes, accept the money, take the 150 million.
I don't think it's what the manager wants. I think he's just possibly. I mean, this is just my prediction. Obviously, maybe he just wants to try different things. But in saying that, he'll probably try that obviously in the Conference League game.
Yeah. I agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I think Tottenham eventually is going to have to go. We're living without Kane. If it's not this year, it's going to be next year. And like we said before, why not cash in?
Well, some historic moments in Spurs' in their history have been without Kane. They got to a Champions League final without Kane. Then he came in and did nothing, given it was obviously against Morty's boys, Liverpool. But, so it's an interesting one. Do I think do they need Kane? Possibly not. But we'll see what happens this weekend. Can they continue their high from last week? Which will take us into the London derby, Arsenal versus Chelsea. Lukaku, he is back in the Premier League and will most likely start this game, and I'm absolutely buzzing for it. The second coming of Drogba. Drogba loved a game against Arsenal. Will we see the similar stuff? Who knows, boys? Who knows? Similar player. So, look, I'm just going to go. So I think we keep a clean sheet. We've been too strong defensively. 2-0 Chelsea, Lukaku goal. And just for the love of it, let's go Timo Werner as well, if we see that partnership.
Did you say 2-1 and a Timo Werner own goal? Is that what you said? Just clarifying that.
All right, boys, give it to me. What have you guys got then?
Go for it, Morty.
Look, I'm in agreement that Chelsea will win this game. Whether Lukaku gets off on the right foot is up for discussion. I'm not sure whether he's going to score. I feel like Arsenal, being Arsenal, will just be like, you know what, screw you, you're not scoring. But they'll probably concede to something else. And
you don't always get that option, though, against a big striker. You don't always get to decide if they score or not. They'll find a way.
I know, but it just something feels me that he's not scoring this week in Chelsea form of throwing the checkbook at someone they already had, and him not scoring in there just to throw some spite out there for the week. But by all means, I hope he does. He'd be in for the fantasy squad. But Chelsea win 2-0. Lukaku not scoring.
Okay. Obviously, it wouldn't be it would be a shock, but it would be very Arsenal to go out and win this game, which obviously I don't want to see. But Tony, do you have them winning this game, or do you obviously go with Chelsea as well?
You know how much I love Arsenal Fan TV. I think Arsenal have more problems at the moment than if they're going to win this game against Chelsea. I think Chelsea do win the game. Wouldn't shock me if they score, but that's also going to go down to if Lacazette or Aubameyang are available. They're still down as illness at the moment. I think, what did you say? Second coming of Drogba? Is that what we're calling him?
Yeah, that's what I'm calling him.
All right, so second coming of Drogba. I think he does get on the score sheet. And just for the banter, I hope he absolutely destroys Ben White, just so I can hear those Arsenal fans talk about it for a little bit longer.
Well, I've seen plenty of memes floating around about what he'll do to him, so we'll see.
But again, like we said, I think we sat here last year and we were really confident that I think we all put Chelsea were going to destroy him, and then we came back that next week and Arsenal upset him. So I'm going to go Chelsea. I'm going to go Chelsea 3-1.
Okay. Just on that Arsenal, you obviously said they've got bigger problems. Odegaard and Ramsdale both confirmed signings now. So we've got Odegaard for 35 million euros and Ramsdale for 30 million pounds. What are your thoughts on both transfers? I personally think that Odegaard was okay. Do I think they really need him? No, they've got Bukayo Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe, and I think that possibly just hinders their progression as well, being young English footballers. And then Ramsdale, I think, is just an absolute terrible financial signing. 30 million for a backup keeper. He'll probably challenge Leno, yes, but look back to last year. They had the Aussie Matty Ryan, who had they signed him on a permanent, it's probably 5-10 million max. So 30 million for a backup keeper, I don't think it's great business. But Morty, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Right. Arsenal Fan TV is going to be exciting next week. I don't understand the Ramsdale signing. I mean, there are plenty of quality Premier League keepers, just enough to sit on the bench. If that's all they're going to do, they're not in any other competition. They did not need to sign above average keeper, and that's pretty much what Ramsdale is. Like, I don't see the point in that. They need a striker, whether Lacazette stays or not. Like, they need someone to be hot on his heels going through. They got Martinelli there, but again, he hasn't played much game time, and he hasn't really, since his injury, hasn't really done much since. So another attacking midfielder. We've seen exactly what happens to attacking mids at Arsenal for the past 5 years. And
Well, mate, obviously,
I don't know.
He was obviously there towards the last back end of last year, so he's been there. He started to look pretty decent towards the end. So I think he'll be quite happy with the move, given that it didn't really work out at Real Madrid. But yeah, I don't think they really needed him. Tony?
I'll start, obviously. First of all, thank you for Nick Detlin for sending that question through, because he was the one that sent it through to our Instagram. So Each week before the pod, we will be putting stuff up. So if you do have any questions, shoot them through and we're happy to discuss them. Odegaard's an interesting one. It's obviously someone that Arteta did, I guess, have when he first came into the club, and it's someone he has come accompanied to work with, and he likes working with him. So when he's trying to form his team, is it a bad signing? Probably not if you're Arteta. It's someone you want to use, and you've been able to get it across the line and been used him before. Now switching to Ramsdale, I think it's one of the worst transfers we're going to see in this transfer. 30 million plus on a goalkeeper that's going to sit the bench, and like you said, obviously Matty Ryan might have left. We don't know exactly what's happening. He might have left because he wanted the first choice keeper.
Yeah, of course.
But if you're spending $30 million on a keeper, surely he's in that contention for the first choice, and then why would you not spend 10 million or 5 million on Matty Ryan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. We're going to go into the final game of the season. Of the week. West Ham Leicester. Hope it's not the final game of the season. It's just started. West Ham Leicester, boys. I've got a 1-1 draw, which will be my second draw of the week. I think West Ham looked really good that second half, and Leicester again pretty great against Wolves. So I think just cancel each other out. Really, it's the only way I can see it. 1-1. Tony.
I mean, hey, if you want to call it the end of the season, I'm happy to award the title to United as we're currently on top, so I'll take it. That's what you want to do.
Oh, no.
We're gonna cut that.
But yeah, obviously Leicester, they did look good against Wolves. However, Traore did miss a few chances. I think West Ham's a team that will finish those chances. I don't want to tip another draw because I've tipped too many. So I'm going to go West Ham in a 2-1 upset.
Okay. Morty.
Again, I think this could be probably one of the games of the round. I think there's probably, on football terms, they're probably pretty equal coming into this, probably the most equal of the games previous. I'm agreeing with Tony. I think West Ham probably sneaked this one past. I think Leicester look good in patches, but again, if Traore was any other attacking winger, then it probably would have put two of those away, and it'd be a very different game last week. So, yeah, I'm go West Ham. I'm going to go 3-1, actually. I think it's very early. 2-1, and then a 97th minute.
Okay. Well, that wraps up the game week. However, I did want to mention, I forgot to mention it during the United game, our little preview of it there, but I've been obviously seeing another rumour floating. It's not rumour, sorry, just a conversation, unpopular opinion maybe floating around. I do need my clickbait title, of course. So I saw someone post Bruno versus current Messi in that United squad. Tony, being a United fan, would you take Bruno, given what he's already done and achieved and how good he's getting, or current Messi? If you had to swap Bruno out right now and you can bring current Messi in 33 years old, 32 years old, who are you taking?
Of course, you're going to throw me under the bus first. We spoke about this. Morty was meant to go first, but I'll go.
We changed it up.
I don't think I would take Messi. Obviously, that's going to be a controversial topic, but again, we look at who's going to play more years at your club.
So Tony says Bruno is better than Messi. Title.
Yeah, clip that. We can put that in the
Is that what I was hearing?
I'll just get ready for the hate comments to come through in a second. But yeah, I just think, like we said, Bruno's got those years left in him where he can help build, and we've seen since he's come in, we've been getting better signings each year. So obviously each transfer, we've been getting better signings. So I think if Messi comes in, yes, is he a good player? Yes, will he do bits? But he's also got to still prove himself in the league. And then what's he got? 2-3 years left, and then he's done.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I personally, I would have Bruno. If it's not ultimatum right this minute, yes, I'd have Bruno every day of the week. I think he's a phenomenal footballer.
Tony and Aaron said Bruno's better than Messi.
Bruno, I think is a player you want in any team. I think he could literally go to any club in the world right now, and he'd be one of the first names on the team sheet. Just what he offers going forward as a midfielder, he would start in that Liverpool team. There is absolutely no doubt about it, and he'd run the show for Liverpool. You'd have yes, I mean you don't play the same formation, but you'd have Bruno in that Liverpool team, yes.
Yes, but he would be playing a very different role. Like the role he plays at United, that full attacking, it wouldn't work at Liverpool. We need our midfielders going box to box. And
you don't have McFred.
How do I get Morty out of this conversation? Where's that remove button again?
You don't have McFred holding you down, holding the fort down.
No, I mean, I do agree with Morty. We play different styles, and with Trent and Robertson bombing forward, they do need those midfielders that don't want to be in every attacking play, which is what a Bruno is. So would he take him? Like he said he would, but would it work? He'd have to change his play style if he was at Liverpool.
All right. Well, I did. Well, I just wanted to finish. Oh yeah, of course. Yes, answer it. Perfect, please.
Look, all right. At this current time, I'll have to agree with you. That yes, you'd probably leave Bruno at United. However, if we were saying that at the time when Bruno came into the league, whether you'd take Bruno at the time or you take Messi, knowing what Bruno has still done anyway, I think I'd say you'd be pulling Messi into that squad, just off the fact that him alone would have got a lot more transfers across the line quicker. And I think Pogba probably would have excelled a lot more with Messi up front, because Pogba wasn't bad. And like you've got a lot of young, talented strikers. You were just lacking at the back and lacking the quality of the finish up top. Like you were providing somewhat. I think Messi probably would have brought that up top and given some confidence to free up the striker and free up Rashford at the top, giving it through.
Okay. Well,
so Morty's on the fence. We'll add that into the title.
Yeah, we're gonna end on that note because it's gotten long enough. We try to keep these short, as we say each time, but they get carried away, and we do need our clickbait at the end. So yeah. Anyway, this is our Matchday 2 preview. We'll be back in a few days' time to review the week and see how we fared on. I've been your host, Aaron. We'll see you in a few days.
See you later, guys.
Struck by